Assalamualaikum everyone. Today we group 2 Marine Science will present our assignment titled Evaluating the Role of Existing Marine Protected Areas as Functional Thermal Refugia during the 2024 Mass Coral Bleaching event in Malaysia. Hello, my name is Ahmad Amin Azmi and I will give introduction for our presentation today. In 2024, NOAA confirmed a major mass bleaching event that caused severe heat stress on coral reef around the world. Malaysia was heavily affected with widespread bleaching and high coral mortality recorded across Peninsula Malaysia and Sabah according to the Reef Check Malaysia 2025 report. Although MPAs are generally expected to improve reef resilience, recent studies show that protection alone may not be enough to reduce bleaching during extreme heat event. Because of this, researchers have started looking at the ideal thermal refugia areas where local oceanographic conditions like internal wave, upwelling or turbidity had reduced temperature stress. Global model and interval wave studies suggest that these natural processes can sometimes protect coral from severe heating. However, we still don't know if Malaysia MPAs actually provide this kind of refuge during the 2024 event. So our study brings together national bleaching report, sites level observation and refugia theories to evaluate how effective MPAs were during this crisis. Based on this, our project has 4 main objectives. First one, to assess coral bleaching severity and mortality in Malaysia MPAs during the 2024 global bleaching event. Second, to evaluate the abundance of key indicator species and their role in reef recovery within MPAs. Third, to identify the chronic stressor, example fishing gear and anchor damage, debris that reduce MPA resilience. Lastly, to determine whether existing MPAs function as effective thermal refugia during the 2024 event.
Hello everyone, my name is Bartolome Clevejita. Today I will be explaining about methodology in study area and site selection. For the study area, we focuses on 2 major coral reef regions affected by the 2024 mass coral bleaching event. So the first one is the Terengganu Archipelago. It includes Redang, Perhentian, Lang Tengah and Bidong. It identified as the most severely impacted region in 2024 with high bleaching mortality. It contains several marine protected area and adjacent unprotected reef. The second one is Sabah. The site within Tunku Abdul Rahman Park, Semporna and Mantanani. It represents Eastern Malaysia fringing and patch reef system. It contains MPS with active management plus non-MPA site. For the site selection, a comparative pair site design was used. 3 MPA sites plus 3 nearby non-MPA sites selected in each region. Sites were matched based on reef type, depth range, coral community structure, and exposure to wave or current.
My name is Pranal Ardi Daniel. Now let's move on to the most critical part of our methodology, the strategy we employed to gather accurate and relevant data. For this study, we focus on 2 primary technology-driven approaches. So our first core strategy is thermal stress mapping. For this, we rely heavily on satellite monitoring. Satellite monitoring allows us to survey vast areas, measure sea surface temperature, and identify critical hotspots where excessive thermal stress is occurring. This is a crucial early indicator for predicting and detecting where severe coral bleaching events are likely to happen. By utilizing this satellite data, we can efficiently focus our effort on locations that require the most immediate attention, as highlighted by Reef Check Malaysia in 2025. Our second strategy is habitat mapping. This strategy involves using remote sensing data integrated with a GIS, Geographic Information System. Through GIS, we can proceed and analyze the remote sensing data to produce detailed maps illustrating the distribution and various types of coral habitat. This helps us not only to assess the extent of damage caused by bleaching but also to understand the characteristic of habitat that may be more resilient and vulnerable to the effect of climate change. It provides us with deep spatial insight for long-term conservation planning. Both of these strategies, thermal stress mapping and habitat mapping, are essential to ensure our study results are accurate, up to date, and reliable enough to support future conservation efforts. We will discuss the result derived from these strategies in the next
Hello, my
section.
name is Lodeni Lucas Anarunso, and this is our result and key findings. Our coral reefs are facing a serious challenge. According to the Reef Check Malaysia, during the 2024 global warming bleaching event, around 50.7% of corals in Malaysia bleached and around 34.1% had died. This number shows that many corals are struggling to survive in the warming ocean. What's even more worrying is that Marine Protected Areas or MPA still cannot protect corals from extreme heat. A study by Johnson, Dick and Pinchera Donoso 2022 explains that global warming is raising the sea temperature so much that these protected areas cannot longer act as a thermal refuge for the corals. This tells us that protection laws alone are not enough. To save our reef, we need a stronger action against climate change and better care for our marine environment.
Next is the low abundance of key indicator species within the region. Population like herbivorous fish and other key invertebrates has lower count even in the MPA region. This shows that the coral inside the MPA is not healthy. Like in the Sunda Shelf region. This also indicates ongoing pressures from history of overfishing, which weaken the reef ability to recover from bleaching. Next is high level of physical disturbance. Indicators such as discarded fishing nets, trash, and anchor damage are seen inside the MPAs. From the report of Coral Reef Malaysia, it seems that 83% of the survey areas are affected by fishing gear and trash. Meanwhile, 56% are by anchor damage.
So, after looking at the data from 2024 bleaching event, the situation is honestly really serious. About a third of our corals, which is 34%, died across Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah. And what shocked me the most is that even marine protected areas didn't do any better. The corals inside MPS died at almost the same rate as everywhere else. That basically tells us that extreme heat from global warming is now so strong that our current protection measures are not enough. MPS can block rising sea temperatures, but the local problems make it even worse. Most of the site, which is over 80%, had fishing nets, trash or plastic. More than half had anchor damage, and this is happening inside protected areas. So corals are already stressed and weak before the heat wave even hits. And then we're missing the cleanup crew, which is herbivores like parrotfish. They are still low in numbers, especially in Sunda Shelf MPS. These fish help recover the reefs by clearing algae. But when they are gone, the reef just gets stuck. So in the end, it's like a double punch. Climate change hits hard and local issue push the corals over the edge. If we don't fix both, our reefs won't stand a chance.
Overall, our research shows that the high coral mortality is not caused by climate change alone. It's a combination of many problems happening at the same time. The sudden stress from global warming became much worse because the reefs were already weak due to poor local enforcement and the breakdown of normal ecological functions. So the message is very straightforward. protection that exists only on paper will always fail when real climate change pressure hits. We cannot stop global warming overnight, but we can remove the local stresses that are currently reducing the reef's ability to survive. So, to truly protect these ecosystems, we must move beyond simply marking protected areas on a map and focus on actively removing the threats that damage reefs every day. This means immediate action in three different areas. The first one is zero tolerance enforcement. Strong enforcement is very crucial. We must significantly improve patrols and management to reduce physical damage, like the 83% of gear entanglement and the 56% of anchor damage, down to zero. The next one is restoring functional ecology. We need to actively help low abundance indicator species to recover so that the reef's natural recovery processes can start working again. And finally, climate inclusive planning. Management must account for climate change by establishing well-placed refugia networks that can protect the genetic diversity needed for reefs to adapt over the long term. The choices we make now will determine whether our reefs have a future. Thank you.
Through the 2024 bleaching event, extensive coral stress was observed, with over half of Malaysian corals bleaching and significant mortality recorded nationwide. These impacts, which were similar inside and outside of MPAs, show that current protected areas do not function as effective thermal refuge. The persistently low numbers of critical species, including parrotfish and essential invertebrates, further limit reef recovery. Overall, these findings highlight the urgent need for a stronger MPA enforcement and better management of long-term local stresses and the implementation of climate-adaptive conservation strategies to safeguard Malaysia's coral reefs.